Hello everyone, my name is Phawx. This is Red Dead Redemption 2 running on the GPD Win 3. There are a few worthwhile things to point out here with regard to power limit and how that affects things. This is the 1135 G7 version of the GPD Win 3, so the 1165 G7 version will actually run a bit better than this. Now the one thing that I do want to point out here is that I have successfully managed to control power limit when plugging and unplugging. You can see that we're plugged in right now. Take a look at our power limit. And previously when you saw, like in my Hitman video, you would have seen that full screen would have went down, but now that's all fixed, and now we'll go straight to power limit 1 of 15 watt. This is power limit 1 and 2 of 15 watt. We're hard setting it so that we know exactly what it is. We're not going to get any artificial boost out of PL2. Now the worthwhile thing to note is that both when I set the TDP to 30 watt and 15 watt, you can see that we're not actually going up that high. Basically what happens first, the Vulkan backend for this, and with how things are getting satisfied within the engine themselves, the GPU is driving everything first. We can see our power limit of the GPU right here. We can see that that's hitting 100%. Once this hits 100% with whatever the CPU needs, it kind of tops out there. So when we see that we set to 15 watt here, we're not actually going up to a total of 15 watt. We're actually going to 11.4, 12 watt tops. Total system power right now is at 16 watts. This is, it's like 2.5 hours of battery life in this particular setting. So if you were to do 15 watt, this is what you would get. This is also chapter 2 of the game, so it's a little bit past the first chapter. I'm going to go ahead and just get on my horse. A victim. Hey, boy. Wait, no. I want to lasso you. All right, fine. That's my secret cap. I can take a lot more bullets than you can. All right, let's loot this guy. Got him. I can't be here.
Get the hell away from here. Shouldn't have messed with me, should you?
All right, so let's go ahead and boost settings to the max. Ooh-wee. All right, so this is maximum settings now. This is ultra quality at 15 watt. Not nearly enough power to run this at ultra settings. So let's go ahead and boost it up with power right now. So we're going to go to 30 watt in just a moment. All right, we're 30 watt. And let's see how far we get boosted up. All right, so here is ultra quality settings, and we're plugged in. But notice that our package power doesn't actually rise up to 30 watt. We're only topping out at about 20 watt. Our GPU has a little bit more space to go to, but it's just not making it there, which is a little interesting. Because again, top power I've seen from the GPUs on the 1135 G7 was around 16 watt. Seeing us get to 13.5 watt, I'm used to knowing that there's a little bit more power. There's 14.3. I suppose just for this particular game with Vulkan, this is the max that we're looking at. However, ultra settings is just not going to work here. 17 FPS, while it looks outrageously good, is just not good enough to be played on. So I'm going to go ahead and set settings to about medium. Okay, so now we're back to the old restored balance settings. So this is what the game is going to target itself at by default. And we're at 26, 25 FPS. Oh, look at that power. We're actually hitting 30 watt now. Oh, for a brief moment we were. Morning. These guys are just firing. What are you guys firing at? You guys part of my posse now? Even though this looks insanely nice, having texture quality all the way bumped up to max, I still would, like, we can run this on battery, no problem. So by default, GPD is setting TDP to 20 watt. So, oh, right. Whenever I unplug this, my little script kicks in. Well, Cypher script, but my schedule kicks in. On balance settings at 15 watt, it's just, this is really not a good enough frame rate to be running at. And honestly, it doesn't look that bad when it's all at lowest settings anyway, but you're going to get that much better frame rate. And especially at 12 watt, you're going to have 2.5 hours of battery life. Let's go ahead and set that back up. Let's go back to that setting right now. Alrighty, so we are set at the lowest. And this is completely playable now. Not only that, but take a look at our power. We're using 13 watts. We're never actually going to hit 15 watts here. So in this particular setting, you're going to get 2.5 hours of battery life, and the game still looks outrageously good. Like, even with, you can clearly tell the textures are of lower quality right now, but I mean, you could tweak some things, but I'd rather have a higher frame rate, and overall the game still looks fantastic. This is completely playable, and it's running at 12 watt. This is actually insane. Again, this is 2.5 hours of battery life in these particular settings. We're doing full 720p at the lowest settings possible, but this is definitely in the area of being able to be enjoyed, and with a decent enough battery life. I consider 2 hours to be the absolute basement, so 2.5 hours is above the basement. 3 hours is really what I consider okay. So we're approaching okay with these particular settings in terms of battery life, which is outstanding for a PC gaming handheld to just play the game. So really impressive. We took a look at a bunch of different settings and tried taking a look at some different action settings out in the wilderness by ourselves, as well as being in a crowded area and then shooting up to place. But yeah, that's the look at Red Dead Redemption 2. My particular recommendation would just to be put at low settings when you're doing 12 watt, and then go to medium settings when you plug in and go to 20 watt. You're not going to really use much more than 22 watt. It just won't be in the hopper. And then again, this is just for the 1135 G7 version. The 1165 G7 version will perform better at the same wattages, but also might have a higher upper end. So maybe you can bump quality up a little bit more to get 30 frames a second at 720p with above medium quality settings, but still we're going to be still in the same regular threshold, so don't anticipate too much more than that. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.